Has this ever happened to you? Trappers are probably one of the most annoying units in the game, but knowing how they execute their strategy will definitely help us deal with them better. Trap fundamentals. In Phobies, you usually hit your enemy's units with your own units, but with trappers, you can basically hit your enemy without actually hitting them. It is like getting a free attack during your enemy's turn. Every trapper will have a one cooldown skill that allows them to set a trap in a tile. That trap only triggers when one of the enemy's units is on that tile at the end of their turn. The thing that makes trappers dangerous is that you cannot actually see your enemy's traps, so you have to be extra careful when moving your units forward. There is also no limit on how many traps you can place, as long as you can place a trap in a tile, since there are particular tiles where you are forbidden to do so, and these are the Abyss, Obstacle, Statue, and Mud tiles. However, there are more interesting tiles where you can place a trap, and these are the Panic Point, Healing Spa, Steam Pad, Lava, Seize, Poison, and Conveyor tiles. You can also place a trap even if there's a unit in the tile. When there's already a trap in a tile, two things can happen. If it is your trap, then you are not allowed to place a trap, since a tile can only have one trap at a time. But if it is your enemy's trap, then their trap triggers while yours is disarmed. Trap Family. Here are all the trappers that are currently in the game as of November 26, 2023. Starting with the most used trapper, Unicorn. It can place a trap one tile away. Upon trigger, the trap deals a damage. This is the most used trapper since it is a strong starting unit, especially on small maps. Next trapper is Venus. It can place a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the trap deals a damage. This is the ideal trapper when your enemy has summoned many one-mover phobies. Next trapper is Poison Ivy. It can place a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the trap deals a damage, and the enemy phobie is poison. This is the ideal trapper when your enemy has summoned many undead or dimensional phobies. Next trapper is Baba Yaga. It can place a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the trap deals an AoE damage. This is the ideal trapper when your enemy has summoned many low-key phobies. Next trapper is Lila. It can place a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the trap deals a damage, and the enemy phobie is Disease. This is the ideal trapper when your enemy has summoned many undead or dimensional phobies. Next trapper is Jibs. It can place a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the enemy phobie is Frozen. This is the ideal trapper when your enemy summoned a high-key phobie. Last but not the least, Fire Ant. It can lob a trap 2 tiles away. Upon trigger, the trap deals an AoE damage and fire damage. This is the ideal trapper when the environment has a lot of obstacles. This is also the most impactful trapper due to how game-changing each trap trigger is. Some trivia about the trappers. There are no 1-key, 8-key, and 9-key trappers. There are also no flying trappers as well as no mechanical trappers. Most trappers are monsters. Unicorn is the lowest key trapper, while Fire Ant is the highest key trapper. Unicorn is the only trapper that has one trap range. Fire Ant is the only trapper that can lob traps. Poison Ivy, Lila, and Jibs are the only trappers that have status trap effects. Baba Yaga and Fire Ant are the only trappers that have AoE trap effects. Trap counters. Here are the different ways I deal with trappers. Number 1. Surrender. See that button right there? Click it. It is so easy you can't miss it. Number 3. Tank. You can summon units like Quagmire or Alligator to tank up the traps, since they have a skill that allows them to regenerate health over time. Number 4. Disarm. You can copy your opponent by summoning your own trappers, so you can disarm their traps every time your trap skill is up. Number 5. Disable. You can summon units like Honeybear and Charon to constantly disable the traps. This allows your units to move forward with confidence. Number 6. Absorb. You can summon units like Tickles and Doom Doom to directly counter traps by absorbing them. Furthermore, Doom Doom allows you to see traps in a given range so you don't have to be anxious anymore. Number 7. Heatmap. This one consolidates all the previous counters mentioned into one strong countermeasure. I always use this one whenever my opponent decided to summon a trapper. The strategy starts by downloading all the maps in the game. Second, I constantly monitor what the enemy trapper is doing. This helps me determine when they are likely to place a trap and where the trap is likely to be placed. This is based on how they use their actions per turn. So if the trapper used 2 of their actions in order to move, then obviously, they didn't set a trap during that turn. Same goes if the trapper used 2 attacks or any combination of the actions. This reduces the amount of potential tiles with traps at a given turn. Usually, the trapper will set a trap every 2 turns, which is basically every time the trap skill is up. During those times, I place a marker on the tile on the downloaded map where I think the trap is likely to be placed. This is based on the current position of the trapper, as well as checking the farthest place they can place a trap on the opposing side. So don't expect them to place a trap near their keyhole, as that is dumb. Third, I implement which counter I want to use, which can be tanking, disarming, disabling, or absorbing. This gives me a variety of options instead of just relying on Doom Doom every single time. Once a trap is triggered, I remove the marker on the tile on the downloaded map. However, if no trap is triggered, then I update the next tile where the trap is likely to be placed. Then I repeat steps 2 and 3 until I win or lose. This strategy really helped me deal with trappers effectively, and even using their advantage against them, such as triggering their fire ant trap as an added damage during my attack. Trap tricks. Here are some tricks that can come really handy when there's a trapper in the game. You can repel 1 key panic takers using Poison Ivy. You cannot trigger your own traps using a statue. You can trigger your enemy's traps using a statue. You can place a trap through an abyss. You can push someone onto a trap. You can pull someone onto a trap. You can swap someone onto a trap. If you're confident that you're going to step on a trap, then avoid placing a trap on that tile, since not only the enemy trap is triggered, your trap is also disarmed, giving the enemy more value in that trade. In async, it's better to watch the replay from the start of the game before playing your turn. This helps you determine where the traps are likely to be placed in between turns. In Arena, you can play mind tricks with your opponent by doing some attacks, but in reality, you sneak a trap while undoing some of your moves right before the timer ends. This makes the opponent double check whether or not you actually place a trap during that turn. In conclusion, trappers are annoying, but they add another layer of strategy, which makes the game all the more interesting to play.